Her lover took her 23-year-old son's hotel room key and broke in. She saw him hugging his girlfriend. She had a huge cry before we found out she forgot her medicine. We've been together for almost 2 years now. Our girlfriend Kelly is 50 years old. We are on vacation with her 23-year-old son Ryan, his girlfriend Emily, and the niece and boyfriend of my sister Bill right now. First, I want to say that I know Ryan very well. I was his coach in high school, and we became very close. He and I have been friends for almost 10 years. I feel like he's my son. They've been together since they were in high school. When we were planning this trip, Kelly told us that Ryan and Emily couldn't share a room. I thought she was joking, but she wasn't. Indeed, Ryan has been telling me about his sex life since he was a kid. I was okay with that. Ryan and my niece's boyfriend would share a room, and my niece and Emily would share a room. It was clear that the room's setup would not last. The tech room was set up in a way that everyone liked. It got better the girls slept over. Ryan knew right away that. Everything was done to make Kelly pleased. I gave him one of my keys and told him to give the other one to anyone. He right away gave it to Emily. When my niece gave her boyfriend her extra key, the same thing happened. It was really thought that this would happen. Anyway, Ryan forgot to bring his wallet with him to our room last night. She didn't bring it to him at breakfast, knock on his door, or even text him about it. She got into his room with the key. She did something bad that she saw. They were making love. But not really. I was told that they were both naked. They were covered in some way, but they were still close together, and he ran his fingers along her back. This sounds like how most people act after having sex when they are in love. She was crazy. She said she wasn't going to breakfast. I told her, okay, she wasn't going to make a big deal about it on our trip though. What Emily said made me feel terrible. She said she was sorry and knew how silly Kelly can be. When I went to get Kelly from her room, she was still mad. That woman told me she was very upset. I told her to be glad that all she saw was them hugging, and not the act itself. That made her very angry. It was too much for her. I told her, Ryan is an adult and has been with the same woman for a long time. She's told me before that she doesn't like Emily, but I've never seen her do anything bad. Ryan's style is a bit more rock than hers, but they're both sweet and love each other very much. She called me every name in the book when I told her she was being too emotional. She called him a kid and said I was on Emily's side instead of her own. I'm really scared. I even thought she might not have brought her medicine to keep her mood stable because I've never seen her act this way before. She doesn't want to be near me because I'm a jerk. Right now we're all sitting on the beach, but Kelly is inside being sad. Changes. First, I want to say thanks to everyone who wrote to me. It was fun to read the notes that weren't very helpful as well as the ones that were. I read all of them, even the ones I didn't answer. Before I begin, I want to make these points clear. Things about Kelly that worry me haven't really come up in the almost 2 years we've been together. I am sure she is crazy. It looks like things between her and Ryan have gotten a lot better. When it comes to Emily, she has never been mean to her. But they have also never been close. Kelly usually goes to therapy and takes medicine to keep her mood in check. Still, I am very careful not to let anyone act badly, including Kelly. I thought it was funny that she said they would sleep in different rooms, so that's how I took it. That thing you said was stupid as hell. She said that while I was at my desk making reservations for the rooms. We talked about something else after I laughed. I had no reason to believe she really felt that way. She told me about her rule in the hotel lobby. I believed she was crazy. She didn't bother me, and I was very tired, so I gave up. I gave everyone a set of key cards and told them to do what they pleased. In less than an hour, I fell asleep on the beach. Before I talked to anyone else, I told Ryan I was sorry about Kelly. I picked him to talk to because I've known him longer than the other 2 young people. He seemed to understand what was going on and even said he was sorry for starting it all, which I told him was a silly thing to say. Before I could answer, he talked about mental incest. During his teenage years, she did that a lot, and he said she still needed to work on it now that he was an adult living alone. When I talked to Emily, we talked about the same thing. Ryan has always had strong rules about how Emily's mother should treat her. Ryan will leave Emily alone for a few days or weeks whenever she can't treat her better. They both couldn't say for sure why Kelly didn't like Emily when I asked them both. Emily said that Kelly might have seen her and Ryan having sex right before Ryan moved out. Her answer was even stronger than this one. After a few months, Ryan would be 19 years old and Emily would be 18 months old. He had to move in with Emily's family because of the fight. Ryan says it was really hard for Kelly. At that point, Ryan told her he wouldn't talk to her again until she went to therapy and worked on herself. This made her deal with her pain and attachment issues. She was able to call her doctor right away on the day of the post. I was able to talk to her after she had calmed down a lot. There is a lot I could say about the talk, but it was too personal. I do want to make a few points though. The first thing I did was ask what the hell was going on. It's not good for her to be close to her son, but she told me that the situation made her angry and sent her into a spiral. Next, she talked about Ryan's move in a way we hadn't talked about before. She has had a lot of bad experiences as a single mom, and she has a hard time being left behind. It was only a few weeks that Ryan's dad was with her. She thought he would want to stay with her to raise a child. But he didn't. He didn't bother her. I asked her why she didn't like Emily. She first said it was because she was rude and had Ryan by the balls. After I told her to say what she was thinking in a better way, she told me she really felt that Ryan would do anything for her. Emily is smart and has strong views, but I love her. She is also very polite and nice. Ryan is also interested in everything she says. He told me that she is always the most interesting person in the room for him. For sure, each one is great by itself. I saw them fight yesterday over a fruit plate. But they work well together. If her son loves and values his partner that much, he has told her he would do anything for her. Kelly should be proud of that. After that, she felt a lot better. It turned out that her therapist told her to talk about menopause with her primary care doctor or an OB-GYN, which is what someone else said. She had a very strong reaction, which wasn't typical of her, and her therapist told her that her medicine might need to be changed because of that. She's also been having other mood-related issues. I wasn't going to ask her what drugs she forgot at first. When I got angry for a good reason, some bad people in my life would quickly brush it off by saying I hadn't taken my medicine because they know I take them. That makes me so angry. So I thought it would be best to ask her what medicine she forgot. It was no wonder that it was a drug that changed mood. She will bring her medicine since her sister is coming to stay with us for another week. We could talk when Ryan and Emily finally came over. A lot of people said they were sorry, some cried, and a pretty big group of people hugged. It looks like these three have talked about this plan before. How Kelly got Ryan's wallet in the first place was something that was talked about. Ryan would always remember their phone, cash, keys, or anything else that was important to them. When he laid down on the couch, Emily said it was possible that his wallet had just fallen out of his pocket. Kelly said she didn't take it. They had a short fight about this. A lot of people talked about how Kelly opened the door for them without being asked. She could not think of a good reason to do it. In the end, agreed with Emily that Kelly was just trying to catch them off guard. Ryan also told Kelly what she could and couldn't do. He's done this before, but it still surprises me because I remember when he thought his mom should have her way so she would be happy. Ryan and Emily felt a lot of love and understanding because Kelly took responsibility and was pretty honest with her therapist. Emily told Kelly she liked that she was taking care of things and even offered that the two of them get a drink together. A lot of people thought this was all silly and that everyone just wanted to chill out and enjoy their vacation. She finally got herself together in time to join us on vacation. I'm glad I can finally rest. We've spent our days since then drinking, taking naps, eating, and going to the beach. I'm so glad. Following. My husband told me I set up a baby trap around him. When one of his friends got caught, he ran away to his parents' house. I told him he could come back as soon as he found out my baby is a girl. F32 and M35, who is my husband, have been married for 7 years. Because he lived next door, we hit it off right away. It seemed like a story. My husband now doesn't seem to agree with me that our friendship and trust in each other make our marriage strong. My husband just found out that his friend Jeff M34 has been stuck with a baby. F32? Jeff's wife stopped taking the pill and got pregnant after very little time together. It wasn't until after the wedding that she told anyone. His wife knew that Jeff's family was very religious. He thought he had to marry her anyway, even though she was pregnant. He promised to stay by his wife and child, so it's too bad that he now feels like he has to stay even though things are clearly not going well. For some reason, this has made my husband very angry. After 4 months, our first child will be here. Yesterday my husband asked me if I was planning to baby trap him. I thought it was a joke at first when I laughed. He meant what he said and went even further. That's why I told him that having a child would not make things worse for him since we had been married for 7 years. That answer didn't please my husband. He told me that locking babies up was okay at any time, and that my goals were bad because I didn't care about his fears. He told me that he used to trust me, but his trust has been broken because I laughed at him. I told him we should talk about it in the morning since I didn't know what he wanted or how to answer. My husband wasn't there when I woke up this morning. A mean text from his brother M28, on the other hand, told me that I had forced my husband to get pregnant, even though we both wanted it. My husband hasn't texted or been heard from in a while. I don't know what to do next. We'd appreciate any help. Change 1. Hey everyone, please find below a short message telling everyone who helped me what's going on. Everyone answered, but I didn't because my post was locked so quickly. But I have read all of the messages and notes. Thanks a lot. I see now that everyone was right. I wasn't mad enough as I read the comments. For a while I didn't really notice that my husband was saying mean things about me and our marriage. I was so puzzled and upset that I couldn't have been mad. It seemed like it was time for everything to really hit home. I called my best friend F31, who has been such a rock in my life. When she heard what was going on, she was very angry and brought chocolate over. After I was done with everything, she called her husband M34 to the house. A family lawyer I talked to told me he would be happy to help me get a divorce. This man is great, and he's going to end his marriage on Monday. Not long after the husband of my best friend got there, my mill, F66, and my husband showed up in the car. He was pretty much dragged to the door. My mill told me that he went to their house late last night and told them he was sure I had babysat for him. My mill is smart, so she really gave him a hard time before making him come over and say sorry today. My worm of a husband never looked me in the eye. He told me that he was scared about having a child and put those fears on me. He told her he wasn't sure if he could keep that promise. I roll, but he's going to step up like a hero. Tell his parents to watch him until I'm ready to talk to him. I told him he was weak. I didn't tell him about the divorce papers right away because I wasn't sure how he would react. He'll find out soon though. I also showed my mill the bill's text. She had a bad look about her. I don't know what will happen, but it will be bad. I'm so tired that all I want to do is curl up and cry. My best friend wants to make plans to hang out with me and watch silly movies all night. Next week I have treatment too, but I need to rest first. I'm so tired and sad that my marriage is coming apart. I'm sorry about the sad ending, everyone. Change 2. Thanks to everyone who wrote and gave good tips. Because a lot of you have asked, I thought I'd quickly post to let you all know how I'm doing. Things have gotten a little better overall. Good news, the baby is healthy and happy according to the scan I had with the doctor. I had my mill with me. Finally, I'm sure I'm having a girl. I'm thrilled. She was so moved by my mill's beauty that I scanned her in. She can't wait to have grandchildren. So, my mill planned a lunch for the family a few days after the scan. I didn't want to, but I knew she was trying to help and wouldn't do anything bad. When I got there, my husband Bill, my Phil, M70, and Mill were all there. It was strange until my Mill asked if anyone had something to say. My brother Bill was the first to speak. He said he was sorry for the bad text. He told her he was in the mood to help his brother and couldn't think straight. I told him it hurt to get such a mean and nasty message and that he knew my husband and I had been trying for almost a year to let him know. He made a slurred sound with his head. That was pretty much the last thing I heard from him that afternoon. Next, my Mill gave my husband a mean look, but he did everything he could to avoid looking at anyone. She finally spoke up and told them that my husband could not stay at their house anymore. She said she felt bad about how her son was acting and would rather have her niece stay there than have a bad guy. His eyes lit up when she said granddaughter when we found out what gender it was. My husband broke down in tears because he had always wanted a girl. Out of the blue, my husband wanted to touch my belly and asked if he could paint the nursery when he got home. He knew he wasn't welcome because I told him straight out that I didn't trust him anymore. I told him that if I took him back, I was afraid he would run away at the first sign of trouble, and I couldn't have someone on my side who would leave at the first chance. He asked me if I was going to tell him it was over, and I told him right away that I had hired a lawyer. My husband was very upset, but I felt so calm it was like someone put a blanket over me. Even though I cry a lot, I felt like I was miles away from everything. My husband said this wasn't fair. I think he might be scared because I'm going to break up with him and take his kid. My Phil told him again that this is the same kid. He felt stuck not long ago, about 2 weeks ago. But my Mill asked him how he believed I felt. My husband was upset and said it was a mistake. He was told to picture what it would be like to be so weak that you would give up your body to have a child. The only person you trust is now saying bad things about you. He said it was a mistake and blamed me for his stress. When he left, I told my husband that I was so sad because all of my dreams for a great family were dashed in an instant. He told me he wanted those things with our daughter and me, but the worry got the best of him. I told him that wasn't a good enough reason for what he did to me when his mom had to drag him to my door to say sorry. He didn't look angry either. He only said he was ready and asked for our girl as an answer. He promised to want me and our baby many times, but he never said sorry in the right way. After talking for a very long time, my Mill stood by what she had said about my husband not being welcome after lunch. He asked me once more if he could go home with me. I told him he wasn't allowed because it was my house and I owned it before we got married. It would also be a safe place for me. Based on what I know, he is at a hotel. Finally, on Friday, he got divorce papers at work. Their author was my best friend's husband, but I didn't want to sign them until I had given it more thought. A few calls didn't go through, and sad voicemails asked if I was really leaving my family, but I didn't answer. He made me laugh a lot when he took a picture of himself crying in his car. When she heard, she called me and told me I was making the right choice. She didn't want my marriage to end this way because her son was mean. She told me she would always be here for me and my baby, and that we were family. I told her she didn't have to say sorry for my husband. In the end, he owns what he did. As a way to enjoy the warm weather, my best friend came to visit for the whole weekend. She has been very helpful. And her husband have been great. I feel a lot better and believe I am making the right decision. What's going to happen next? If anything big or interesting happens, I'll let you know again. For now, though, I just want to get through this and possibly have a beautiful girl. We wish you luck.